Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jason the Van Teacher. Today I want to show you a new product that I will be installing in our van. We've all seen these out there on the road, and you've probably have wondered the same thing I have. Do they actually work? Well, let's find out. This particular model is the HiBoost Travel 3.0 RV Max cell phone booster. If you are not familiar with cell signal boosters, they basically pick up existing cell signals with an outdoor antenna, send those signals to a booster for amplification, and then transmit the amplified signal to the inside of your vehicle through an indoor antenna. In this video, I will cover installation and setup. You're going to be surprised at how easy it was to install the roof-mounted antenna and bring the cable inside the van without drilling any holes through the roof. To see whether the signal booster actually worked, check out my next video where I thoroughly test and review this product. First, let's check out what's inside the box. One feature I was very excited about was the folding antenna mount. It is sturdy and can be mounted to your vehicle in several different ways. The other parts of the external antenna include a heavy-duty spring, two 15 3/4-inch extension poles, a short pole that allows the cable to exit, and several pieces of hardware for different mounting options. You can attach the antenna to an existing roof rack or ladder, or bolt it directly to your vehicle. I plan on mounting mine to the 80/20 aluminum side rails on my roof. The antenna comes attached to a short cable and an additional 26 feet of coax cable to route into your vehicle. If you need to drill a hole to bring the cable inside, the kit includes a high-quality cable entry housing. Additional sealant materials may be needed if using the housing. For our installation, I prefer not to drill holes, and I'll share a secret entry point for the Ram ProMaster. Just be sure no mice are watching. The booster is designed to be surface-mounted with Velcro or secured with zip ties. I think it would have been nice if it was also designed to be attached to a wall with screws. A couple of pre-drilled holes would give me additional mounting options. The booster is powered by a 12-volt plug or with an AC adapter. I picked up a 12-volt socket adapter so I could wire the booster into an existing circuit and put it on a switch. Later, I'll show you how I modified the circuit and switch to make this work. The third main component of the system is the indoor antenna. The antenna comes with about 13 feet of cable and has a magnetic base. It can also be mounted with double-sided adhesive or simply set on a table or counter. The system has three main parts: the outdoor antenna, the signal booster, and the indoor antenna. I'll mount the outdoor antenna to my 80/20 roof rack, run the cable into the van through the rear door, mount the booster in the garage cabinet, tap into power using an existing switch, and place the indoor antenna on the kitchen galley. Let's start with some prep work. The first task I wanted to figure out was how to supply power and where to put a switch. Since the booster only uses about 10 watts, I could tap into any circuit without risking overloading the circuit. There are several places throughout the van where I can easily access existing circuits, but the most logical area to install the booster would be in the garage area. I also had a set of 3 switches on each side of the cabinet that I could choose from. Initially, I had planned to install a new, separate switch and circuit for the booster, but I already had an unused spare switch available on my water tank enclosure. There, I could easily tap into a 15 amp utility circuit and make use of that extra switch. All of my circuits are connected with lever nuts, and tapping into the circuit only took a few minutes. I wired the 12-volt socket to the switch inside the cabinet and now have an easy way to power the booster on and off. Of course, the easiest way to power the booster would be to simply plug it into an existing 12-volt socket. The provided power adapter has its own built-in switch and even a built-in USB port. Now that I have a source of switched power, I could begin planning where to install the outdoor antenna, and most importantly, how to get the antenna cable inside the van. The obvious mounting point for my van is the 80/20 roof rail. I chose to mount the antenna to the passenger side since the booster would be below on the same side. The back of the van made more sense than the front for 2 reasons. It allows for a greater separation between the indoor and outdoor antenna, and it makes it easy to raise and lower the antenna by standing on the rear bumper. The next decision would be whether to mount the antenna to the top or the side of the rail. In deciding this, I had to consider whether I wanted the antenna to fold parallel to the roof rail or fold toward the center of the van, perpendicular to the roof rail. I probably spent more time making this decision than any other. I ultimately decided to mount the folding bracket to the side of the roof rail and have it fold down toward the center of the van. In the up position, I like how the antenna sits just to the inside of the rail, and in the folded down position, I like how the antenna disappears onto the roof. It also seemed to be the easiest option for raising and lowering the antenna while standing on the back bumper. I really like the folding feature of this antenna mount and highly recommend the system. To mount the antenna to the 80/20, I needed 2 stainless steel button head cap screws and 2 T-nuts that fit 80/20 rails. I like to use stainless hardware to prevent corrosion, and I use Loctite to prevent loosening bolts. To finish the outdoor antenna assembly, attach the spring, then the short pole with cable opening, and then the extension poles if needed. I chose to go without the extension poles mainly because I didn't want the antenna to extend any higher than necessary. If it turns out that additional height is necessary for better performance, I can easily insert an extension pole. Even without the extension poles, the antenna sits 10 feet off the ground. I think that as long as your antenna is above any objects on your roof, you should be fine. Now that the antenna is mounted, the next task is to run the cable inside the van. Fortunately, there are several vents in the back of the ProMaster that are designed to release air pressure when shutting doors. These one-way air vents make perfect passages for running cables. A bit of caution, however, when using these vents for cable runs. The openings are large enough to allow mice to enter the vehicle. If you remove any flap covering the vent, be sure to cover the vent with wire screen to allow airflow but not mice. Access to these vents is a little difficult, but you simply bring the cable into the taillight housing, down to the vent, and right into the inside rear pillar. Extra cable can be coiled up and tucked inside the rear pillar, and the rest leads to the booster. Finish the outdoor antenna installation by securing loose cables with cable ties. I am also using a few pieces of black duct tape to keep the cables hidden along the inside of the door. The next step is to mount the signal booster in the garage area of the van. Directly above the switch seemed to be a good location and out of the way. The garage interior is made from a carpet-like material and Velcro easily attaches. The booster does not seem to have a better way to mount, but I would have preferred having the option to screw it to the wall. I drilled a couple of holes above the booster to route cables. The outdoor antenna and 12-volt cable plug into the right side of the booster, and the indoor antenna cable plugs into the left side. There is also a USB-C port on the left side for plugging in USB-powered devices. Like I mentioned earlier, I plugged the supplied 12-volt plug into a 12-volt socket that I wired directly to a switch. The final step in the installation is attaching the indoor antenna. I was able to run the antenna cable through the water tank enclosure and into the kitchen galley. From there, I can simply set the antenna on the kitchen counter, run it down to the floor next to the galley, or run it up the wall toward the ceiling. I don't plan to permanently mount the antenna, and I do want some flexibility to see if it makes a difference in performance. The most important consideration is to keep the indoor and outdoor antennas isolated from each other. This can be achieved by moving them as far apart both horizontally and vertically. I currently have about 10 feet of horizontal separation and about 8 feet of vertical separation. This may not be quite enough, and if it does affect performance, I will relocate the booster closer to the center of the van and then move the indoor antenna to the front cab area. This would increase horizontal separation to about 15 feet. Now that everything is connected, let's power it on and make sure the system is working properly. The booster itself has 3 LED lights. One light indicates Wi-Fi connectivity, one is for Bluetooth connectivity, and one is an alarm indicator. The alarm indicator will flash blue or turn red if self-oscillation begins to occur. Finally, it is time to see if this system gives me a better cell signal. In my next video, I will perform a series of tests to see if this product does what it says. I plan to head out to areas with poor reception and will carefully conduct several different types of tests. I will run a cell phone field test, test and record signal strength, and will test download and upload internet speeds. I will also make phone calls, send text messages, and will stream videos with the booster on and off, and will then compare the results. Be sure to check it out, and thanks for watching.